Dallas Mayor Mike Rawlings says the signing of free agent Greg Hardy is like a, quote, shot in the gut. Here's his quote. I'm a big Cowboys fan. I love them to death, and I want them to beat the Eagles every time they play. But at some point, being a sports fan gets trumped by being a father, husband, wanting to do what's right for women. So this is not a good thing. I don't think I'm going to be buying a Hardy jersey anytime soon. The mayor went on to say it makes him take a pause after the team has done some good things. No surprise the Cowboys are taking a hit here in terms of their public image. The latest from the city's leader. Stephen A., are you surprised by his comments?
Well, no, not really. Actually, because I know he's in Dallas. I know we're talking about Big D, Cowboy Nation, and it doesn't seem to be popular. But I think he was very, very careful. Had he said, I'm not going to be buying a Cowboys jersey soon, I think that might have been more damning. The fact that he said, I'm not going to be buying a Hardy jersey, well, I got news for you. Most folks in today's world are not going to be buying a Hardy jersey any more than they're going to be buying a Ray Rice jersey or anybody else, for that matter, that's found themselves involved in such heinous acts. The reality of the situation is clear, that Greg Hardy has got some work to do. He's got to get on a football field in a Dallas Cowboys uniform. He has to play at a high level, and he has to stay his behind out of trouble. It's just that simple. But for the mayor of Dallas to ingratiate himself into this, I have no problem with it, believe it or not, Skip, because as a politician representing the people, having a constituency out there, understanding that this transcends the sport of football, and this is about life issues and some of the things that happen off the field and criminal activity, et cetera, considering the fact that Greg Hardy did endure a bench trial. He was arrested. He was indicted. He was found guilty during a bench trial by a judge of domestic abuse. And so because of it, yes, he appealed, and ultimately he was supposed to go to a jury trial, and then the witness couldn't be found for the jury trial, so the case ultimately was dropped, and then they settled out of court. We understand all of that. So does the mayor. And so when you look at it from that perspective and understand that in his mind and in the minds of most people, there was a judgment, and that judgment was of a guilty nature as it pertains to domestic violence. The reality is that the mayor is perfectly within his right to speak on this issue. I can't knock him for it one bit, and I don't think he overstepped his bounds. I think he said things that made a lot of sense. He's basically saying, as a sports fan, you know, I understand it, but, you know, you're thinking about women. You're a father. You're a husband. All of those things come into play, and the kind of things that Greg Hardy was convicted of, found guilty of by a judge. The mayor has a problem with that. I can't knock him for that. I understand it may not be popular in Big D, but what I would remind everybody is that he did not say anything derogatory about the Cowboys. He said, I won't be buying a Greg Hardy jersey. He did not say he would not support the Cowboys. He did not say he would not support the team. He just said this rubs him the wrong way. And last time I checked, the biggest Cowboys fan I know is I'm looking at right now. And he said the same thing last week. I get it. I understand it. And I can't condemn the mayor for it. I really can't.
Which was why, Stephen A., when I first heard this story, I think it was Friday evening, I literally stood up and applauded this man, Mayor Rawlings. We had him on our show, as you recall, when we were in Dallas. And what a courageous and gutsy stand he did take. Obviously, I applauded the stand because I said virtually, as you point out, the same thing last week. It just made me sick, even as a lifelong Cowboy fan. And even though Jerry Jones pulled off a steal of a deal for one of the top pass rushers in pro football in Greg Hardy, it just made me sick, which was the equivalent of the mayor's shot in the gut. But as you know, Stephen A., I was a longtime columnist in Dallas. I wrote 3 books on the Dallas Cowboys, and trust me on this. The quickest way for the mayor of Dallas, Texas, to lose favor, if not get run out of town, is to take a stand against the Dallas Cowboys, no matter what that stand is, no matter how solid a ground he's on. And I think he's on very solid ground, as you do also here. Trust me, a number of fans were outraged. But I'm hoping that a whole lot more fans joined me and applauded their mayor in taking that stand. because, again, as you point out, Greg Hardy was convicted in a bench trial, and then because of the quirky North Carolina law that allows an appeal through a jury trial, all of a sudden the accuser disappeared, and it appears she got bought off. So maybe it was easier for the mayor to take this stand because, as the Dallas Morning News pointed out on Sunday, he's had a strong national profile in his campaign called Men Against Abuse, and he has recruited all the top former Cowboy legends, Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, Roger Staubach, to join that campaign, which I'm sure they poured heart and soul into. Now, was I surprised that Charlotte Jones, the daughter of Jerry and obviously sister of Stephen Jones, spoke out about this, spoke up about it? No, I was not surprised at all. I know Charlotte very well. She's a Stanford graduate. Obviously, she's the mother of a daughter. And she made some fair balance points here that, hey, we don't want to throw away these people who have committed this crime. We want to try to rehabilitate them. And she's making the case that the fastest way is to go ahead and bring them into their fold, where they've taken great pains to set up a support system for him. I also read a quote from the CEO of Genesis Women's Shelter in the same Dallas Morning News story yesterday, in which she said that she would have preferred to see Hardy go through his counseling and his punishment already to see signs of change from him. And obviously, we're all waiting, dangling here at the whims of the National Football League, because we don't yet even know what his punishment will be, Greg Hardy. Will it be 6 games? We both agreed it should be at least 8 games. Will it be for a whole season? It would be easier to stomach if you at least knew what the punishment was from the foot-dragging National Football League.